Hiring the wrong video editor won't only ruin your content, but it can ruin your business too. You'll reach less people and you'll put less sales calls on the calendar because of it. And after editing for the past year and interviewing dozens of editors for my own agency, I found where the best ones are hiding. I'm talking about the ones who turn videos around in less than 24 hours, understand graphic design, and cost a fraction of the price compared to US editors. So in this video, I'm going to show you where to find editors, how much you should pay them, and how to make sure they won't scam you. This way you'll have a system in place to find editors who will help you grow your business instead of being the one who bottlenecks it. Now, editors are not hiding from you. However, just like great clients, great editors aren't easy to find. You can't just go on Fiverr and search up editors and find your diamond in the rough. However, this is exactly what most business owners end up doing. They don't feel like vetting editors, they don't feel like posting job listings, and they don't feel like managing team members. So they end up just recycling through freelancers who are basically slinging an agency out of their back pocket. They search for an editor, negotiate a price, go through 3 to 5 rounds of revisions, and end up with a subpar video. And the reason why this doesn't work is because it just creates friction within your business. You spend more time looking up on Fiverr, searching through portfolios, and making revisions than you do actually recording content. And then on top of that, you also lose authority with low quality videos because let's be real, people on Fiverr aren't producing these super animated and high quality videos. There's usually spelling mistakes, the animations are basically thrown in randomly, and the sound effects are like whooshes, pops, snaps that sound like there's some from like some kid's TV show. So what are your prospects really thinking when they see these types of videos? Because it's either, wow, this guy's super legit, or they're saying, this is like some other guy who just paid some guy off Fiverr and he decided to start running ads. So I personally would argue the latter, as they're actually lowering your credibility because anyone can find an editor off Fiverr and post some basic videos. So unless you want to be like everyone else, you have to find a way to stand out. And what you need is you need to develop a process where you can efficiently find editors who raise your status instead of being the ones who lower it. Now, the reason why you can't find great editors is because you don't know where to look. Editors are everywhere. They're on the platforms that you're on, but you just don't know how to find them. And as an editor myself, I can tell you exactly where you can find talent that's hungry to level up and get more work on their plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the platforms into 3 tiers so you can choose which fits best depending on your exact situation. So tier number 1 is going to be your social network. This is going to be Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. And the reason why your social network is the best way to find quality editors is because they're building the brand too. These editors are hungry and they want to be the best at what they do. And they know in 2024, building a brand and online portfolio is the best way to promote their services and stand out. It's the same thing that you do with your services, and it's exactly why you want to post content. Now, you can find them with these 3 different methods. Method 1 is going to be job listings. Using job listings to find editors is basically posting a tweet or Instagram story with the details of the job opportunity plus an application link in the description. Or if you're on Instagram, you can just post it right to your story as well. This way, when they're actually applying through your job listing, you have a way to filter them out. So the purpose of this is to reach as many people as possible, while the purpose of your application form is to disqualify as many of them as possible. However, if you have like a shitty listing, if you have a shitty post, no one's going to see your application, so you need to make sure it's actually something people want to apply to. Now, when coming up with a job listing for your social media, you want to have 3 things. You want to have a good offer, you want to have deliverables, or essentially like a price, and you also want to have a call to action. And without these 3 things, you're basically going to be posting for nothing. Nobody's going to see it. So creating an actual offer when it comes to like a job listing, it's just like signing clients, because if you have a bad offer, no one's going to want to work with you. So you need to give them something that's worth their time, whether it's great pay, whether it's editing for like the best movie in the world, or even like editing with a team of like-minded individuals. For me, it's stuff like getting access to free trainings, leveling up as an editor, and basically getting paid to do so during the process, because I've been editing for a while myself, so I can actually help these people, and we kind of bond as well, because it's like I know the struggle of being an editor, so I can help them kind of take that next step in their path. Now for you, it's really because most editors are just stuck in the cycle of chasing leads and basically getting underpaid. All you need to do is give them an opportunity to have consistent workload and not underpay them. So this is basically your opportunity to tell them what you actually have to give them once you have a good offer in place. So this is going to be listing your deliverables, because the difference between a high quality and low quality application can be as simple as a reasonable workload. The goal of your deliverables is to set proper expectations without diminishing your post potential, because you want editors to know what they're getting into, because if it's unreasonable, if it's scammy, or it's too insane to believe, you're going to deal with more hate comments than you do actual editing applications. This means if you post a listing and you're underpaying your employees, no one's really going to apply. And if you post a listing overpaying your employees, no one's going to believe you and no one's going to apply. So what that'll look like on a quick scale, nothing crazy, super basic stuff, you should expect 10 to 20 for short form videos, 10 to 30 per minute of long form. Something a little bit more advanced, you're going to do 20 to 40 for short form videos, 30 to 50 for long form minutes. And if you want something like super crazy, you're going to end up paying like $100 per short, $150 per minute of long video. So it's pretty, it varies pretty significantly depending on what exactly you want and what exactly you need. So basically, the more advanced videos you want, the more you have to pay. And once you actually know your budget, once you know the deliverables you're going to be offering them, you just want to present it as something simple where you're laying out like your three basically deliverables plus the price. If you don't have like a good price to offer them, you don't always have to keep it. And if you are negotiating price based on their skill, you don't always have to throw that in there as well. But something as simple as this will give editors clarity on what to expect while also establishing you as someone who's actually looking to hire and not trying to scam these editors. So if you have a great offer and reasonable deliverables, now you just need a way to qualify them. So this is going to be getting them to apply, which is easy as tossing your application form below your tweet or just linking the application form in your Instagram story. So there's not much to overcomplicate when it comes to actually driving traffic there, because these people are going to want to apply to your listing. But that brings us to what you actually need to put in your application forms. Now, your application form can be the difference between shuffling through hundreds of low-quality applications or having a list filled with potential candidates. And if you value your time like I do, I'd encourage you to create a very, very solid application form. So I'm going to give you a quick example of mine. I basically do the type of position I'm hiring for, location, obviously remote, pricing. I recently have been doing determined based on skill just because I want some really quality editors and I want to negotiate on like the price, but I will give like them like a range like as they apply. Now I have some basic stuff like full-time workload. I also have like example things that I want their editing quality to be up to. I'm already like disqualifying them from that. And then I disqualify them using this as well. You'd be surprised how many people type in like they respond the rest of the thing in all lowercase or in all caps, and they just don't know how to follow directions. So those people are just immediately disqualified. Please link your portfolio. I'm pretty specific. Once again, if they can't follow a simple instruction, then I just disqualify them. Name, last name, email, social media account, all that simple stuff. I'm going to link this in the description, and you can go through that on your own time. Now, like I said, the first thing I do is I qualify these editors from the very beginning. I tell them not to apply if their editing quality isn't similar to client work. I tell them to type the word short in all caps, and I make them submit a portfolio. These three things basically disqualify 90% of the people, so it makes my life a whole lot easier. And basically, like I said, I just go over some specific stuff like computer specs, just because, all my past experience, I've hired people in the past, they have really good edits. And then when I onboard them, they take 48 hours to finish a video. And I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, oh, it's rendering for the past, 10, 15 hours. I'm like, oh, all right, well, this is basically the only way to avoid that in the future. But from there, I actually have like qualifying questions, which are questions that I need to know so I can know if like reaching out for an interview is worth the time. This is going to depend on your specific situation, but stuff like editing software, time zone, current salary, time available for work, and then these are basically just some specific questions. Now, even if you have a great form, your listing may not reach enough people, and that's basically going to lead us to method number 2. Now, this is the best method to find quality editors, but it also takes the most time because you can single-handedly pick top-tier talent and then just throw them your offer. However, if you want to avoid wasting your time, you have to already know like how to vet them and how to present your offer in a way that makes it easy for them to say yes. But first, we actually have to know how to find them. So let's go over Instagram and Twitter outreach for editing applications. So if you want to hire top-tier talent, you can't be afraid to find them. You have to go out and actually like reach out to these guys because they're not always scouring the internet for applications. So you can just use like basic keywords like editor, editing animations, Premiere Pro, and then you just go through the people who come up and like click on their profile, check out their work and stuff like that. And once you actually go on the profile, you have to give them a profile audit. So during a profile audit, you should really look for these three things: their editing work, like their portfolio, their follower count, and their profile picture and their testimonials. Because if their editing looks terrible, it's not going to be a fit. If their editing is super advanced, they have like 5,000 followers, they're going to just cost too much. And then your goal is to basically find somebody in the middle, like a couple hundred followers, high quality videos, and that's essentially going to be your diamond in the rough. Like you can just literally just search for them, which a lot of people overlook. Now you actually have to craft an offer that's easy to say yes to, because once again, it kind of comes back to like you're giving them an opportunity to relieve some sort of pain in their lifestyle. So if you want to like give them consistent work, you have to present that in a way that makes it easy to say yes. Now, this is a good example of what I do. You can kind of like base it off this, whatever your like offer is, you can kind of angle it in your own way. So if you rip this out enough times and people are always saying no, it's also a good way to validate your offer, because if you reach out to 10 editors, all of them say no, you know that you just have a like a shitty offer. And then if you send it to 10 people, they all say yes, maybe you're paying a little bit too much, etc., etc. Now, if you can't get any positive responses on Instagram and Twitter, you could try Discord. Now, Discord is a little bit different, a little bit more tedious, but this is where the best editors are going to be. Like they're actively in these communities, leveling up, becoming better at their craft, and taking that next step and becoming like a top tier editor. Now, this means you want to look into Discord communities from top guys in the space. Two good examples is going to be Brett Foley and Houston Cold. Now, to actually get into these groups, you have to sign up for a newsletter, because they don't want a bunch of random like low quality community members joining their community, so they add some friction to the process. So what you're going to do is you're going to sign up for their newsletter and just like have them pitch the community for you. That's like what I've done. And yeah, there might be a better way to get into the Discord community, but I just wait like a week or two and they pitch it within usually within that first week. So, like I said, the strategy is a long-term game, so don't play it if you're trying to get editors as soon as possible. But once you actually join the group, don't just go in there and start lowballing editors, because you're gonna get kicked like immediately. So you want to participate a little bit and see who'd be a potential fit, maybe create some like basic relationships, then you kind of can reach out with a similar offer. It's basically same thing as the Instagram and Twitter offer as well. So it's really probably the best method, but it also takes the most amount of time, and you have to actually like build relationships, be like incorporate yourself in the community, and just don't look like some guy who's trying to scam people. Don't look like some scumbag, basically. Now, if you are looking for something a little bit quicker, you can just go to method 3, which is going to be checking your inbox. This is probably one of the easiest ways to find editors, but once again, it's not always going to be the most qualified people, because there's probably 100 people in here. You have to actually go through the inbox and see who has the best work and negotiate a price. Or you can just qualify them by giving them a application and giving them a profile audit like we already discussed. So you just let them come to you, you filter them to see if working together makes sense. However, as I mentioned before, like editors from your social networks are going to be the most expensive option. So if you really want editors for as cheap as possible, you might want to consider like tier 2 and tier number 3, which is going to be tier number 2 is going to be Facebook groups, where you're actually going to be like posting a job listing into a Facebook group. So if you're willing to put in more work to find quality talent at a lower cost, Facebook groups, it's going to be your next step. Similar to your social network, these editors are hungry. They spend their days outreaching in these Facebook groups, and all you have to do is join the right ones. Now, the main problem with hiring from Facebook groups is that you'll get a lot of unqualified volume, so you need a really good filtering process. However, you can minimize the amount of unqualified traffic you're getting by following these 3 steps. Find a quality group, have a good offer, and then have a good application form. And we already covered steps 2 and steps 3 above, so all you really need to do is find some really solid Facebook groups that actually has quality talent within them. So finding top tier groups is going to be pretty simple. You just have to know what they look like. A good group will usually have multiple posts in the past 24 hours, a few comments on every post, and at least like 50,000 members. And they usually don't have any like explicit or nude content in it, because there will be posts. I think this one has like naked people in there, something ridiculous. They'll have like some scammy stuff in there. So it's yeah, like I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, like it's crucial to avoid this, because if you're joining groups like this on the right, they're just gonna have a low quality like group of people, and they're going to be like not high quality editors. So you're going to waste more time on the applications. But once you actually find 2 to 3 quality groups, all you're going to do is apply to them, which is basically as easy as filling out a few questions. Then from there, you just need to know how and where to post the listing. Now, Facebook group listings pretty similar to like Twitter. You'll just post like the same thing that you had on Twitter and just apply with like your or drop your application link right below the post. And depending on the group rules, you may have to put the link in the comments. Sometimes you could put it right in the post. It really just depends on like what group you're joining. Now, like I said before, this method will come with a sacrifice of quality, but volume shouldn't really be a concern here. You'll get a lot of editors coming in, a lot of people applying to the application. So as you can tell, lower price talent does come with a little bit of extra work. And from here, we'll have tier number 3, which I do not recommend going down to, but I'm going to show you why. So essentially, this is going to be like third-party platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and Online Jobs PH. And these types of platforms are the worst way to find editors for a few reasons. You have to spend time finding and vetting editors, just like all the other platforms. Even if you do pay them, the work can be subpar, and you have to rely on the system they have in place, which is a no-go, especially if you're running a full-time business, because most editors on these platforms who have great reviews, they're already killing it. They're just running an agency out of their back pocket, and they're just lying about being a freelancer. They still charge somewhat of a premium, and the quality usually isn't like there too much. Like they have like a poor agency, and on top of that, you have to rely on their process. With the other 2 tiers, you're actually the one who's in control. You're hiring somebody, and now in this scenario, like you have to rely on them and their process, which should be an obvious reason as to why this is a red flag for your business. Would you ever hire somebody like an inbox manager who said like, "Oh no, we're going to have to do things this way because like that's how we usually do it on these platforms and stuff like that," or yeah, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. So unless you want to work with some agency who's lying about being a freelancer, I would just skip this tier altogether. But if you really want to use these platforms, I'll show you how to vet them without having to negotiate prices and deal with unprofessional candidates all day. So most business owners try finding editors with Fiverr and Upwork, but they end up test running a handful of them only to end up with a bunch of low quality videos and no editors they can rely on. This is usually because of 2 reasons. They didn't get the editor on an interview, and they didn't look for enough editors. So a good rule of thumb would probably be to set up like 10 interviews at least and talk to like 20 different editors on the platform. This way you can like create conversations and actually start to build your luck and give yourself a higher chance of finding like that diamond in the rough. So let's go how you actually would do that on Upwork. So Upwork, pretty simple. They're not it's not like completely useless. So you just have to actually know how to use the platform to your advantage. You'll have to post a job listing and then invite quality editors. This way you can have editors just come to you, and you can also invite them directly to your offer. So let's actually start with posting the listing. So posting jobs on Upwork, pretty simple. At this point you already know like what you're looking for. You just have to actually create the listing. Upwork is pretty good with walking you through each step, and all you have to do is submit your job listing and your budget. So for your job listing, just put the exact deliverables and what you're looking for, and this is going to be a little bit different than the social media ones because it's a little bit more in depth. Like these people have never seen your posts, and they're just coming across you for the first time. So something a little bit more similar to this, like where it's like, oh, videos need to be turned around this fast, like you need to be able to do X, Y, and Z tasks, yada yada. Now for the budget, you should look to pay these people anywhere from $5 to $15 per hour, depending on the quality of the edits you're looking for. This is basically almost on the same range because when you think about it, like the more advanced you're going to do, like the more hours it's going to take. Like, it might take somebody 2, 3, 4 hours for something pretty advanced, so just keep that in mind. Now that's really all it is when it comes to the job listing. You just actually have to go find the editors now. Now, finding editors to invite is a great way to like actually source quality talent from these platforms, because if you don't invite people, you're probably not going to get a handful of applications. You'll get like a few. Like you might only get 2 or 3 applications. So you have a limited amount of invites, so you really need to make them count as well. So you need to learn how to scout the talent, and you have to know how to audit their profile. So first, you're going to search for stuff like short form editing, video editing, YouTube editor, And this will be filled with like hundreds of people to sort through based on their portfolio work and hourly budget as well. So all you have to do is find 10 to 20 of these editors who fit your needs, then reach out with your offer. But before reaching out, you have to perform an Upwork audit so you don't waste your invites because you only have like a limited amount of them. Now, an Upwork audit is going to be kind of similar to a social media audit. Without performing like an Upwork audit, you're going to end up inviting poor candidates and you're just going to end up wasting your invites basically. So you need to check for their job success percentage, their money earned, and their jobs in progress. So their job success and total money earned is a good indicator of how reliable they are. It's basically their testimonials, their reviews, and their job success should be basically 100%, and they should have at least a couple $1,000s in total earnings, or they're not going to perform well when you actually give them consistent work. Now, from there, what people don't realize is you need to check their jobs in progress. So to navigate that, you'll go to the bottom right where it says all jobs, then go to in progress right here. The reason why this step is important is because if they have like a bunch of jobs in progress, they're going to have no time for you and they're just going to turn videos over really, really slow. If they have 50 like to 100 jobs in progress, it's like way too much. You really want to look for like 10 to 15 jobs in progress because some of them are like one-off deals and they're not probably doing videos like every single day. So if you find someone who passes your profile audit, then you could finally reach out to them. So you can do the same thing we discussed when using outreach on social networks. Then if they end up being interested, you should push for a Zoom interview. But before we get into all that, you have to know how to do the same thing on Fiverr as well. Now, Fiverr isn't a bad way to find editors. It's just hard to find ones who are in it for the long run. So you need to find editors who have high quality work, but also have like high quality characteristics and traits. So you can't just reach out to editors with a raw video file and expect them to consistently deliver for your business. Instead, you have to separate your time into finding editors within your budget, vetting them on quality, and setting up interviews. This means your first step is finding editors, which is once again as simple as a keyword research. You can use like the same keywords you used last time as well. This should give you a good amount of people to search from, and then from there you'll perform a profile audit. Then after you perform a profile audit, you have to actually reach out to them. So Fiverr Outreach, very similar to Upwork, but the platform was not really set up for long-term commitments. So this is where I start to find a lot of friction. They want to get you to order like one-off packages, but that's not really going to work if you want to grow like your business with video content. Instead, reach out to them as you would over social media. Like hit the contact me button and actually reach out with an initial message, and you want to take note of how fast they respond, how they react to potential partnerships, and see if they're fluent in English as well. Now, most of these guys won't want to leave the platform because it's designed to like benefit them, so you have to give them a good offer. So this means paying them more than they're charging on Fiverr and promising a consistent stream of work. And if they end up being interested in what you have, you should push for a Zoom interview as soon as possible. And if you're looking for the right thing, Zoom interviews are the best way to build this long-term relationship with these third-party like platform editors. So let's go through how to conduct a Zoom interview real quick. It's basically the best way to make it obvious whether or not you should move forward with the process. If they don't turn their camera on, if they're unprofessional, etc., etc., those will be clear telltale signs that you shouldn't hire them. But if everything seems fine, then you need to ask like the right questions. Things like where you're from, how long it takes to finish videos, how many hours they have available to work. Basically the same as like your application questions as well. Now, on top of that, you can ask more like experience-based questions as well, like have you ever worked with a team before? How long have you been editing for? Like what reasons would you want to work together? However, this isn't really the heart and soul of the Zoom interview. The best part is going to be your skill test. Now, your skill test is set up to avoid fake portfolios because most editors know that you're looking directly at their portfolio, so they're going to fake the work and they just steal stuff from other editors. So you need to make sure they're the real deal. And you do this with a skill test, which is just making sure they're not taking weeks to finish these animations and make sure they're actually the one who edited the video in their portfolio. So this is how you set up a structured skill test. It's going to be interviewing them. If they do well, you offer them a paid skill test. You give them a raw video file plus instructions on what to do. And then you pay attention to how fast they do it and the quality of work they give you back. This way you have like a great way to vet editors on skill and actually make sure they're doing quality work. So this is how you're going to set it up. You should already have like a good understanding of the skills they have, like by looking at their portfolio and stuff. So you should know like who you're inviting on these interviews. They need to be qualified, but now you just need to really make sure they understand directions, and you have to make sure that they're the one editing the video. So something simple as like our next step here is to do a paid skill test, and I'll pay you XYZ budget for your time. What I want to do is give you a raw file in a Google Drive. All you have to do is edit, then send it over when you're done. So nothing too super specific unless they ask questions. Now, if they say no, don't hire them because they're not an A player. And if they say yes, you'll give them the Google Drive and any other details that you want, like specific for the video. This way, you'll actually be able to find who are the real deal, who are the A players in the qualifying round, basically. As you can see, all you need is the following things to find quality editors for cheap. You need to choose a tier to source from, source editors with job listings or direct outreach, qualify these editors and find ones who are worth an interview, and then give them a skill test. So some things you still might be unsure of, they're like, how do I train these editors to my style? How do I ensure they don't churn? How do you set up a system where you don't have to micromanage them? What is the best way to give them revisions? What do you do to minimize revisions? And they're all valid questions, but there are other options out there because at this point you just have to develop a whole skill set just to hire a decent editor. So you aren't just spending time editing these editors, but you're also spending time making mistakes and firing them only to start the process from scratch. So every time you fire them or they churn, you have to make another application for them, choose a tier to source from, post listings, find editors, send outreach, filter through quality portfolio, set up 1 to 2 step interviews, analyze the best candidates, structure skill tests, hire, onboard your new employee, and then manage them daily. So you can either spend your time finding and managing these editors, or you can go with a content agency like us who already has a system in place for you to pump out these videos every day. This means no more training, vetting, and managing editors, just a proven process for you and your business. And it's the same system we use to help Darren produce a video every day for the past 6 months, and the same system we use to help Tony and Jared launch a podcast from scratch. They spent 0 time shuffling through editors and now have a system in place to create content every day, every week. So if you don't feel like spending the next 2 weeks finding, vetting, and hiring editors, you can book a call using the first link in the description. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon.